Ready for our next session with student athletes from Michigan State. To my immediate left, junior guard Cassius. Winston, to my far left, senior guard Matt McQuaid. This time we take questions for our student athletes.
Matt, you came in 4 years ago, a little skinny kid that could shoot the ball. And basically, that was all we thought, was this little kid could shoot the ball. Now you're one of the most feared defenders in the Big Ten, respected as one of the top shooters. Every time you pull on that uniform now can be your last. What's going through your head? Describe your feelings.
Yeah, I definitely have more of a sense of urgency, you know. I love playing with this group. I love all my teammates, my brothers, you know, really close group. So, you know, I'm just going in every day, you know, trying to cherish every second, every minute I have with these guys and just taking it one day at a time.
Other questions for our student athletes? Please give your name and affiliation.
Cole Breedall with the Bradley Scout. You guys getting Bradley as a 15 seed, what have you guys seen on film in the last couple days of the way they play?
We'll start with Matt.
They got a lot of really good shooters, you know, and then they're solid in the paint. They run their offense really well. You know, they even get out in transition. You know, they got a lot of tough matchups and run their offense really well.
Cassius?
Oh yeah, like Matt said, they're a really solid team. You know, they don't have a lot of flaws. They got good guard play, good inside play. So, you know, this is a really good team, and, you know, we got to play to the best of our abilities to beat them.
Bradley, a team that was down 18 in their conference tournament and battled back to win. How do you deal with a team that just doesn't go away even if they're down?
Go ahead, start with Matt again and then Cassius.
Yeah, they're definitely a relentless team. You know, they finished their conference strong, and, you know, we just got to be ready and come out with a sense of urgency, knowing that they're not going to quit the whole game and just staying on our toes till the end of 40 minutes is up.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're gonna play their best. You know, they're gonna fight the whole time, and we gotta be ready. You know, we can't be lackadaisical or anything like that. We gotta come out with energy, come out playing hard.
Other questions for our student athletes? Okay, we get to dismiss you guys early. Thank you, and the Michigan State locker room will remain open for another 20 minutes. Thank you, guys. We'll have Coach Izzo up shortly. Michigan State locker room is going to be open until 1:05. We'll have Coach Izzo here at 12:50. This time, we'd like to welcome Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo, the Spartans, number 2 seed in the East region. Their streak of 22 straight NCAA tournament appearances is the longest in Big Ten history and the 4th longest in NCAA history. This is the 33rd overall NCAA tournament appearance all-time for Michigan State. Coach, welcome to Des Moines.
God, you made it sound pretty impressive. I wish I felt that way. Thanks for having us. It's been great so far. We got in yesterday and looking forward to the game. And Bradley, any team that starts out 0-5 in the league and then finds a way to win 10 out of 12 and win their tournament, beat a team that was in a Final Four last year and had a lot of players back in Loyola. Got guards that can shoot it, and Brown and Cannell can, really, really shoot it and from long range. And I think that's always the worry of a lower seed against a higher seed is, the three-point shot. And I've seen some nights when they've made a ton of them from long, long range, and we're going to have to do a good job of defending that. I think they want to run. We want to run. We're adjusting without Kyle. He was 18, 20 minutes a game, and he'll be not with us. Oh, he's with us, but dragging a damn boot around instead of tennis shoes. So, it's just the way it is. But I think in general, when you get to this time of year, I've sure been through enough in my career to know every team's here for a reason because they had some success. And the excitement of getting into the NCAA tournament sometimes makes teams even better yet. Hopefully it'll do that to our team. I'm sure it'll do that to their team. So questions?
This time we'll take questions. Please raise your hand. We'll have a microphone holder. Back row here. Give your name and affiliation, please.
Dave Reynolds, Peoria Journal-Star. Tom, in 2007, you brought your team to Peoria to play against Bradley. The all-time attendance record in that game for Carver Arena, which still stands. What do you remember about that night? It was a close ball game. What do you remember about it?
I told Jimmy how stupid I was. Why would I come there to do that? It was, and I don't mean that insultingly. I mean, I knew how good they were. I knew what kind of team they were. I remember going to a luncheon that day, and God, I think there were 400 or 500 people at the luncheon. And I go, what did I get my hands into, But it was a great atmosphere. Peoria's had great basketball for 100 years, it seems like. I remember when it was just stocked with high school players and kind of like our Flint, and there's been some fall off maybe because of, companies leaving and going and staying, but it's always been great. My college coach, and Stan Albeck, who was at Northern Michigan. I used to hear about Bradley forever back in those days. But rabid fans, great city, and Brian's done a very good job with this team. I think they're building it back to where it needs to be.
Left side, back there.
Dylan Mons, Ames Tribune. This is a little bit of a homecoming for Jack Hoiberg, and I know even as a young guy, he's kind of in the locker room and things like that. What has he been like for the guys in the locker room and kind of added the program, even though he's only been there a couple years now?
I love Jack Hoiberg. It's one of those weird things. I guess I was a walk-on when I went to college, and things turned out for me okay at a Division II school, which different level, but it looked like Jack was going to go play golf, and I don't know what made Fred and his mom and Carol come over, and I think there was a couple guys on his staff that had been at Michigan State, and he came over and fell in love with the place and wanted to be a walk-on, and I hope it was a great thing for him, but if you know Jack Hoiberg at all as a student, as a worker, he's making himself a player. I mean, like a lot of guys I have, he's too small for this and too slow for that, and yet he's been probably one of the best scout team players we had, and we've talked about, we redshirted him his first year because I think he's a kid that I questioned whether he could play at this level early on. And I remember telling his dad a couple weeks ago, you know what, I think he can play at this level. What's he like in the locker room? I mean, last year with Jaren Jackson and Miles, I mean, he just kind of got along with everybody, and those were the superstars. This year, I don't have as many superstars, but he gets along with everybody again. You know, I think it's his background. It's his dad and mom. It is a homecoming. He said he has a bunch of people coming, you know, and I couldn't be more honored to coach a kid that does it in the classroom, off the court, and on the court with the work ethic he's done it with. So Jack's a special guy. If you asked our players, I bet you they'd all say, we don't like Jack Hoiberg, we love Jack Hoiberg.
Other questions for the coach? On the left side aisle.
Yeah, Coach Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. When you started this annual March habit in this event, I think it's 98, and I think you had Eastern Michigan and then Princeton.
Yeah, Princeton,
Which
yeah.
seems...
Good memory.
Well, I looked it up.
Oh.
But,
Good honesty. With a bad memory.
no, I have a really good memory, but I looked it up. I want to know what you remember from just this point, the day before maybe, or the week before that, and maybe how you might critique that coach.
Well, that was a weird year, you know. The year started, I think we were like 5-4. You know, we had gotten beat by, I think, Central Michigan and U.D., and I think they were talking about firing me seriously. And then we went on a run and won 18 of the next 22. And so we went into the tournament. It was my first NCAA tournament as a head coach, and we were playing Eastern Michigan of all teams, and they were good. But we played really well there, and then we had to play Princeton. And I remember we kind of started what I do now. We started these 20-minute segments of get back from the game, 20 minutes on Princeton. Get up for breakfast 20 minutes before, breakfast 15 minutes after. In the afternoon, same way. I kind of understood that the attention span, and that was pre-Twitter. Now we have 4-minute meetings. And it's changed a little bit since Twitter has evolved. But, you know, we found a way to beat them. And I think the greatest memory I have of that first weekend was right before the end of the half. You know, Princeton was notorious for the backdoor plays, and we ran one on them, and it worked. And found a way to beat them, and then went down, and North Carolina took care of us. But it was a great start. And I think anytime your first game in this tournament, although sometimes it still feels like my first game in the tournament, you know. I just have a better idea how to get the hotels and the tickets and everything. But the excitement of the tournament, I don't think has ever changed for me. I love March. I love the tournament. I love the way it goes. I love playing in games, and I love watching other games. So I don't know what the second half of that was, but the first half was, got a lot of memories of that. And I don't have to look them up, but I appreciate them still to this day, 22 years later.
We have 5 minutes left in the session. We're going to go on the right aisle, then we're going to come over to the left side.
Danny Lahan from the Des Moines Register. You know, kind of following up on that a little bit, to what extent do you do the job of telling, you know, some of your kids in the program who are about to experience this one-and-done atmosphere for the first time? What part do you play in kind of helping try to explain to them what it is like versus how much you rely on some of your veteran players to kind of tell their teammates that from a player perspective?
Yeah, I'm starting to realize more and more, you know, as we all get older, we're in this weird profession where our clientele are always 17 to 22. So I think it helps to have other people telling them, you know. And I've been blessed at our place, you know, like before we've been in one-and-done mode for about 3 weeks now, you know. When you think about it, we had to win so many games to win the Big Ten championship. And towards the end, you know, players from all eras, from Magic coming back to Steve Smith to Cleaves, you know, and I'd always ask them to talk to our guys. Then I'd ask the Tum-Tums and Jaren Jacksons, and Miles did a good job for me calling guys and telling them how to deal with those pressures. And then when you get into the Big Ten tournament, you got to win 3 to win it, so you're one and done in that one too. And so I think we've had a little more practice of being one and done. Now we haven't experienced what it means to lose, but that's a good thing, you know. So I do talk to my players about it. I try to tell the freshmen there's different pressures, you know. The my bads go out the door, you know, because one my bad and we're going home. So I try to explain it, but that's where McQuaid, Kenny Goins, who actually played in a Final Four because he's a fifth-year guy, are really helpful. And I think our guys know what's at stake.
Left side, Pat.
Pat Borsey with the New York Times. I wanted to just ask you a little bit about the merits and some of the pitfalls maybe of winning the conference tournament going into this, because your teams have done it both ways. I'm wondering if winning the conference tournament can make guys maybe a little complacent or a little bit overconfident going into the first couple of rounds, and whether maybe losing in the conference tournament can kind of scare your team in a productive way.
Yeah, you know, coaches are great creatures of habit, and if we lose, I'm going to say that damn conference tournament. And if we win, I'm going to say that real good conference tournament gave us the boost. You know, you got to have an excuse if you're a head coach. So I'm going to use it both ways. But what I really believe, I'm kind of in new territory for me. You know, 90% of the time in this tournament, I think we've played on Friday. 90% of the 22 games, I believe we have. I'm not positive. And then, you know, we picked a year when we're on a Thursday and we won the conference tournament. You know, is that harder? Of course it's harder. But it also, there's some momentum that you gain from that, you know. And the one thing I don't have, and I really don't worry about it much in my program, we play such a good schedule every year I've been there. And usually we get the brains beat out of us by a couple of people. So that big ego, that big, you know, thinking we're better than we are. You know, Indiana didn't make the tournament, beat us twice. So we're cool with cocky and confident. We're not very cocky in that respect. But I think when you win the tournament, you do get a little confidence. And I think because of the players that come back and explain to the guys what it's like, I don't ever worry about my team. A lot of writers, a lot of people thought the team 3 years ago that got beat by Middle Tennessee, you know, you overlooked them, you looked past them. Guys, we shot 50-some% from the field and 50-some% from the three. They just shot 50-some% higher, or not higher, but they were above us. They just played better than us. We got a little foul trouble. We had an injury in that game to Kenny Goins. A matchup, you know, they just beat us. And there hasn't been many times I've worried about us looking past the team or thinking we're better than somebody, because that's something that I try to do every single day of my life. Never forget where I came from and never forget those tragic losses, but never forget those exhilarating wins either, and try to share with them that it's all part of the deal. And I just haven't had it. I don't believe we're going to be looking past anybody. I worry a little bit about fatigue because of the injuries and playing Sunday night and getting home at 11:30 and all the things we went through. But cocky or too confident or you know, go the other way, as you say, man, they came to this program try to win a championship. They signed up for that the day they signed up, and the goals and the rules have never changed. And when we're down and out, they don't change. When we're really good, they don't change. When we're not as good, they don't change. So we've been maybe as consistent this year as any team I've had, if you look at our offense and defensive stuff. So hopefully that'll carry us through here and win a game tomorrow.
Got one last question, then we got to get Coach on the court.
Alex Halstead of 24/7 Sports. Kind of end off track a little bit. Wanted to wait till then here, but Iowa State's just down the road, and they're going to play an Ohio State team that you're really familiar with. What should people around here expect from that team that you just saw last week?
You know, Ohio State is a very good team. You know, they had Wesson out for a while, you know, and they had some injuries early too. But Wesson is a monster. You know, he got in some foul trouble in our game. He's 6'10", 2 whatever, you know, and but their guards are starting to play a little bit better. You know, they had a fifth-year kid in there. They're athletic. They guard pretty well. Chris is a very, very good coach. So I think it'll be a hell of a matchup, because I've gotten a chance to see Iowa State on TV a little bit, and they had the one kid, what's his name, Shayak was hurt for a little bit right towards the end, and boy, he came back, and he makes a difference too. So they both lost a guy for a little bit towards the end, and both got him back. So it should be a heck of a game. Where's that game played at? Tulsa. That'll be good. It'll be a good game.
Thank you very much, Coach. Michigan State will be on the court at 1:15. Our next session starts at 2:45 with Nevada.